Okay, we're looking at chart number 155, string shapes by the letter names, and I have like, we're going to cover about 3 charts up to 157, I believe, or 158. So we'll have to move along. Here's a diagram with the pattern stack. Remember one thing about the pattern stacks, it's in P4 tuning. So every interval you see, and your strings would be, let's see if we can draw some strings here for a second for peeps. For peeps who don't know what's going on with these diagrams and they look confused. Okay, so this would be the string. The actual, I have to tell it we're going to draw a string. Draw a line. Okay, we don't want a green line. So I see, line draw had its own color. So once again, let's put it gray for string color. Alright, line has its own thickness. Let's put it back to like 2 pixels. This is probably going to get us later. So here's the strings. These are the guitar strings, you see? And in back of them, in back of the guitar strings, there's the notes that I put onto each individual fret. And these are called inlays. They go in between the frets. The frets are the raised bars that when you press down, it anchors the string. So that it changes the length of the string. So just imagine this diagram has all these strings. Now I'm not going to draw any thicker than the others, although if this was the top string, these bottom guys, these two would be thicker, right? They'd definitely be thicker. So we want that. They're not even thickening up enough here. It would be like that. Okay, so that's what's going on with the diagrams. Actually string-shaped diagrams like that. Okay? The diagram that we're talking about here is up here. So let's see if I can. Okay. So it gets chilly when I take my vest off, and then it gets hot and all that stuff. So you'll have to bear with me. In this zone we have the S2L here. We have the S2L right here, and we have the S3L here. Just remember the S3L is going. Just remember, DAE is the S3L. C and G is the S2L. If I sound like I'm pronunciating that extra carefully, it's because I am, because they have the subtitles. Good coffee. So instead of talking into my cup, right? So here's our S2L. It's the C and the G shape, but it's really these two strings. The S3L is the D, A, and the E shaped strings. E shaped string, A shaped string, D shaped string. Tongue twister there. Okay, and that's where they fall on the circle of string-shaped fifths. Alright? The easy way to remember that we go fifths in fifths here, in string-shaped fifths now. Even though the strings on the guitar, okay, B string to A string's a fourth, but take it the other way back down. A to E is a fifth. So that's easy enough. Going up the strings this way, it's backwards, but from my eye point it looks like I know it's going up because it's going up in pitch. Okay, so It gets a little complicated when you hit the tuning difference, the tuning third between G and B. Okay, that's when the fourth of G becomes a diminished fourth to, instead of C, it's B, and then turn it around. The fifth of B is not F sharp; it's an augmented fifth to G. Okay, so it works with strings, but it also works with string shapes. And if we define these string shapes here, okay, if we just grab 6 strings here, okay, we're going to grab 6 strings. How are we going to grab 6 strings? Well, we're going to make 4 of them go away, as it's a 10-string pattern stack, and it has all 5 cages in every possibility of every shape in a major scale possible on the guitar. What we do is we look at these strings and we see, okay, the top 2 strings are going to be tuned differently, so we're going to bring that to the right over equal to there to make our C box, and make sure that that's a good fit there. Good fit. Now we have our C box. We would have the fret nut. Are we drawing? Hello. Now we're kind of want to make it more like a brown color, or something we can see easily, such as yellow, and we'll have to thicken it up, line width there. So there is our fret nut right there. Okay, it's a little crooked, but so now we have a C cage. On the bottom we have E becomes the third of C, and the top and the bottom string defines what that cage is. So E becomes the third of C, A becomes the sixth of C, D string becomes the second of C, is the second of C, G string, now here we go, this is the G string, okay, and it's the fifth of C, but it's the A shape. So it's important to remember that the shape that it is not necessarily does not necessarily have the C note. See, this is C shape, but it doesn't have the root note. But these are the string shapes. Okay, and let's look at our string circle here. As you go around in the key of C, you got C on the bottom, to G, to D, the D string shape to A, to E, and back to C. And remember, E is the third of C. Okay, if you have G on the bottom, if this was the bottom string, now we can go back to our pattern. If we're looking from G to G, and G's the bottom string, okay, the G shape is the bottom string, the sixth. All right, A becomes the sixth of the key of C, and that gives us our G shape. Now we have to look at up here. Look at our G shape up here. It looks like I'm starting to confuse you. I don't mean to. This is our G shape box. We'll have to use our trusty so right here's our G shape box. Down here you also see the same letters here, 6, 7 root, 6, 7 root, but these guys down here pertain, these are owned by the A in the diagram. This is where A is defined in the diagram. This is my little space down here for E to be defined by that E box right down here, you see, the E box. But here's the A box. Here's where it's defined, top and bottom string,